All right, this is the copyright disclaimer. The copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
Galvarino was a Mapuche warrior fighting the Spanish conquest of Chile during the Long Arauco War. Captured after the Battle of Lagunillas in 1557, he was singled out by the Spanish governor Mendoza to be made a warning. He had the hands and noses of many captives cut off before releasing them, and Galvarino lost both of his hands, hacked off at the wrists, then was set loose to spread fear and submission among his people. But it had the exact opposite effect. Galvarino went straight before the Mapuche War Council, held up his mutilated arms as proof of what surrender brought, and demanded they keep fighting. He then had knives and blades lashed tightly to his stumps and returned to battle, leading charges and cutting down Spanish soldiers. He was captured a second time at the Battle of Millarapue. Defiant to the very end, he told his captors that if they freed him, he would tear them apart with his teeth. Accounts differ on his exact death. Some say he was hanged, others that he was thrown to the Spaniards' war dogs, but each version agrees he met it without flinching.
All right, Shalom. We are the Hebrew Israelites from the Indianapolis branch of the Great Millstone, and we're here to give all praises, glory, and honor to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakodash.
Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teaching us this 100% truth. Salutations to them and our fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on the highways and byways. Also salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, also known as your Israelite foreigners, and your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. To you, we say Shalom.
Shalom.
All right. Today we have another installment of our camp series called For Thy Violence Against Thy Brother Jacob. We will be dealing with today a Northern Kingdom story, and as you see on the screen, it's called The Legend of Galvarino, the Mapuche warrior who had knives for hands. And we'll put a link to this article in the description box. And before we get into it, we'll get the opening scripture.
Yep, this is the book of Obadiah, verse 10. It says, For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever.
Yeah, it says, For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover you. And this is talking about Esau, Edom, all right? His violence against the nation of Israel, Jacob, all right? And he is, his violence has been perpetual ever since the blessings were given out back in the book of Genesis, chapter 27, verses 38 through 41. And at that point in time, he actually sold his birthright before that period happened, in two chapters previous, Genesis 25. And then he was mad about it when Isaac gave out the blessings. All right. And ever since then, he made it a point to slay his brother Jacob. And when you slay Jacob, there are no 12 tribes of Israel. Just that plain and simple. All right, the whole nation is gone if Jacob is taken out. All right, but that didn't happen. Okay, so here to this day, we see we're on what video like number 237, and we've only scratched the surface. 237 to 238. We've only scratched the surface of everything that this devil has done. All right. Just, and there's things that we don't know, things they didn't even record in history. Stuff they're finding now, like, for example, under the White House. After they finished building it, they killed the slaves that built it and left them under there. Yeah, that story came out, so it's just a mess. But anyway, it says because of that violence, his shame is going to cover him. And that's not only happening with us every week, bringing out his horrendous history against the nation of Israel. The rest of the world is finding out who this devil is beginning with Amalek, okay, who is the head nation, your small hatters today, that's occupying our land right now. All right, and he said, and they're hating, and that's why they're removing history, censoring people online. I sent bro here a video the other day, when I said Esau is at it again. They snatched my comment down, so that's what we're up against. And but at the end of the day, his end is near. His end is near. We only have 4 prophecies left. That's World War III, which is brewing real heavy right now. The implementation of the MOTB, which is happening right now. Neuralink is already out there. You see this Jake they got, parading him around, showing him levitating and stuff, and putting a chip in people's hands. Okay, and then you have destruction. That's when World War III comes full swing. All right, and at that point in time, Yahweh Shai is going to return for our salvation. So those are the 4 that you have left. But in the midst of that, this devil is going to be destroyed once the Lord comes back. He's going into slavery, twice as hard and twice as long as we were in it, and then ultimately he's going to be wiped off the face of the earth forever. All right. So with that, anybody got anything? We get right into the article. Okay. All right. Again, a link to this article will be put in the description box of the video, and you can read it at your leisure. All right. We did put in some videos to give you an overview at the beginning of the lesson. All right. It says, in the annals of history, there are warriors who have defied all odds, overcoming devastating injuries to continue fighting. Then there's Galvarino, a Mapuche warrior who not only survived the brutal amputation, but used it to strike fear in the hearts of his enemies. The article delves into the Arauco War, Galvarino's incredible story, and the lasting impact of his legend, all of which you can experience firsthand on Tour de Amigos cycling tour through the same territory in the Bio region and along the river where these events took place. All right. It goes on. This is the Arauco War and the Battle of Lagunas. It says, in the early years of the Arauco War, which spanned nearly 300 years, the Spanish conquistadors clashed with Mapuche Indians in south-central Chile. In the Battle of the Lagunas, Spanish forces captured 150 Mapuche prisoners, including a young chieftain named Galvarino. Governor Garcia Hurtado de Mendoza ordered the amputation of the right hand and nose of each warrior, and both hands of the leaders like Galvarino, as a gruesome message to the Mapuche: submit or else. All right, and this says that the Spanish conquistadors, these are Edomites. Okay, when you go into the history.
I got something for you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, if you speak on it. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 25, verse 23. It says, and the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger.
And this is, it says the Lord, but we know that that's a seer, which was called a prophet before. They were called actual prophets, telling Rebecca what the war was going on in her womb. And she said, 2 nations of people, 2 manner of people in your womb. A vessel of honor and a vessel of dishonor, according to Romans chapter 9. Okay? And the vessel of dishonor is Esau Edom, the so-called white man. He's the one who came out red all over like a hairy garment, which, was describing his skin color. He had that paleness, his blood was showing forth through his skin. They didn't have to describe Jacob because he was melanated like everybody else. All right? So that struggle, in the womb, as was saying, there's symbolic of an everlasting a rivalry between those 2. Ultimately, Jacob was going to come out the winner, okay? Because it says the elder is going to serve the younger, okay? The younger was Jacob. He came out of the womb second, all right? But we know in the spirit that, he was the firstborn. Somebody grab Exodus 4:22, Baba Bouchard.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 4, and verse, you said 22?
Mm-hmm.
Verse 22 it says, and thou shalt shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus said Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Israel is my son, even my firstborn.
See, and that's even through the Spirit. You know, he was the firstborn out of the two. And we know Jacob's name was changed to Israel after he wrestled with the angel, okay, and received the blessing.
Yeah.
All right.
And I want to touch on something, and and it's like two men of people separated from the boughs. We know that Esau, he was, the sword. He was out in the field, a hunter, and of course they said Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. More. So when we look at that, we see that that these people were being hunted. Who was actually going after them, but he said that they would be strong. It's the strong people, right? It says one people shall be stronger than the other. He gets his arms amputated, and then he turned them into swords to continue to fight. That's something that the strength of an Israelite. All right. So I just wanted to point that out.
Yep.
When we're gonna read it.
Yeah. I was gonna say, and you see that today with Jake. Everything that they put us through in this captivity, we've adjusted to it and flourished. Everywhere they try to turn us down, everywhere that they try to take us down, because Lord, we under curses, but He said He will not cast away His people. All right, because He has an ultimate plan, that's to come back and save His elect. All right, and when that Exodus 4:22, that's who the Lord was talking about, His elect, His firstborn. All right.
Let me get that for you. This is the book of Romans, chapter. Well, that's not what let me see.
4 new.
Well, I was like, yeah, that's what I was looking for.
Okay. I think that's 8 around chapter 8 around verse 29.
Romans 8.
Yeah, 28, 29, I think around there.
Okay, Romans chapter 8. Verse
You said Romans 8:29.
Yep, you got it.
I got it.
Who are foreknew? Yeah.
Go ahead.
I said what?
We said He foreknew and predestinated. Yeah.
Yeah, he-
Trying to get this is Romans 8:29, and it reads, "For whom He did foreknow, He also did predestinate to conform to the image of His Son."
He said whom He foreknew and predestinate. Okay. A precept of that is talking about Jeremiah. Before I formed thee in the womb, I knew thee and sanctified thee for a purpose. We're roughly paraphrasing. Okay. So He knew who His people, who His elect were going to be before we came in these chains of darkness of these bodies. All right.
That He might be the firstborn among many brethren.
There we go. That's proven Exodus 4:22 right there. All right. So,
You want me to keep going to verse 30? Or just stop right there?
no, you can stop right there. You can just proving that what he said when he read the elder shall serve the younger, which is what's coming. All right. Once the kingdom comes back, the Lord comes back and establishes heaven on earth, we're going to be in rulership. And all nations are going to be subject unto us, according to Jeremiah 30:16. All right, and then those who are not going to serve us, they're going to be annihilated. Get that in Isaiah 60:12.
Yep, and I found what I was looking for actually.
Okay.
This is Romans, and this is Romans chapter 11, verse 1 and 2. It says, "I say then, have Yahweh Bashem Yahushai cast away His people? Yahweh forbid, for I am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai hath not cast away His people which He foreknew."
God.
Yeah.
See, and they've made great efforts to destroy us, and they couldn't. One of those most profound efforts is mentioned in Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 35, where Esau made attempts to take away the sun, moon, and the stars. Okay, we know they're trying to block out the sun right now. Okay, you see that with Kill Gates, with one of his programs. All right, and then as far as the moon, You know, everybody goes back to 1969 with that fake moon landing. Nobody still knows where the person is who took the picture of them landing or leaving. I guess they're still floating around up there. But in any case, the first project was NASA project number A119, where they actually tried to send a nuke to the moon. Okay, we're still here, so that means it never happened. All right, we're still here, and then they try to prove stuff like they've been there. You see it with the Fantastic Four. You know, the movie they hit that radiation belt. That's really talking about the Van Allen belt, which they've never made it past. And then was it Buzz Aldrin, who was supposed to be one of the people on that flight? He said, we don't have a metal strong enough to withstand that radiation. So we're still here, which means they never went to the moon. He can't block out the sun. You know, as far as we know, the only thing that's going to block that out is the mushroom clouds from the nuclear destruction. And that ain't here yet, but it's on the way. All right.
You want to Isaiah 60? and
Yes.
12? All right, and this is Isaiah 60 and 12, and it reads, For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted.
So, and we know everybody else is going to fall in line, because the prophecy is that Esau, Edom is the only one who's going to be wiped out, according to Isaiah 14, 21, and 22. All right? So he's the one that's going to be utterly wasted and destroyed. And also in the same book of the opening scripture, Obadiah chapter 1, verse 18, if you want to grab that.
You said Obadiah.
Yeah, 18.
Obadiah verse 18, it says, And the house of Jacob shall be a fire,
That's the southern kingdom.
and the house of Joseph a flame,
That's the northern kingdom.
and the house of Esau for stubble.
Khan, that's the so-called old white man. All of his tribes beginning with Amalek. Okay? The imposters in the land to there. They wear the tiny hats. All right?
And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord has spoken it.
Khan. So yeah, he will not exist anymore. All right? After they're done serving in slavery, twice as hard and twice as long, they get rounded up, put into a pit, and that's it. All right? And that's when the two nations come together. Again, as you see that it mentioned Jacob and Joseph. Joseph, we know, is another way of saying Ephraim, who's also the leader of the northern kingdom. All right? So, yeah, they're going to be utterly wasted, as Isaiah 60 and 12 said. So all the other nations are going to fall in line and do what they're supposed to do, because they hate this devil now too, as you can see. All right? Okay, let's go ahead and get into the article. It says the Arauco War and the Battle of Lagunillas. It says in the early years of the Arauco War, which spanned nearly 300 years, the Spanish conquistadors clashed with the Mapuche Indians in south central Chile. In the Battle of Lagunillas, the Spanish forces captured 150 Mapuche prisoners, including a young chieftain named Galvarino. Governor Garcia Hurtado de Mendoza ordered the amputation of the right hand and nose of each warrior and both hands of leaders like Galvarino as a gruesome message to the Mapuche: submit or else. And somebody want to grab what tribe is in Chile? For the edification, according to the 12 tribes.
You getting it? Keep reading while it is.
Okay. It says Galvarino's defiance and return to battle. It says despite the horrific mutilation, Galvarino refused to surrender. He bravely offered his right hand after the amputation of his left and asked his torturers for a killing blow, which they denied. Instead of conveying the Spanish message to the Mapuche general Poloshkin, Galvarino urged his people to continue fighting.
It'll be Naphtali,
Naphtali, okay,
Naphtali.
that's the tribe that's in Chile. All right.
Argentinians too.
Yep, Argentinians and Chile. Okay. It says to inspire his fellow warriors, he fastened knives to both of his wrists, transforming himself into a terrifying figure on the battlefield. And look up the different videos that like to see this. He was literally called the original Wolverine. Yeah. It says the Battle of Milarapu on November 30th, 1557, Galvarino took part in the Battle of Milarapu, leading the charge with his knife-adorned wrists. Although the Mapuche initially achieved some success, the Spanish ultimately overpowered them with cannon fire and cavalry, capturing several hundred Mapuche, including Galvarino. And that just goes to show, Esau is nothing one-on-one with Jake. He has to either outnumber you or outgun you. Unless you have that special situation where they have a specific skill set, in some form of the martial arts, Jake's going to take him on strength alone 9 times out of 10. All right. Back into the article. It says Galvarino's final moments and legacy. It says after the battle, there would be no reprieve for Galvarino. Sentenced to hang, he reportedly refused to join the Spanish, expressing his desire to die rather than live like them. Some accounts he claimed he was thrown to the dogs. Others say he was hanged, and still others believe he took his own life to deny the Spanish the satisfaction of executing him. Galvarino's story became a rallying cry for the Mapuche throughout the Arauco War, symbolizing courage and tenacity in the face of colonization. Today, the legend of Galvarino continues to inspire, reminding us of the resilience and determination of the human spirit in the face of adversity. And that resilience is heavy among the nation of Israel. Okay, this is how you know he's an Israelite. Okay, well, there's no way, we're gonna find a way. All right. He says, with Tour de Amigos, you have the unique opportunity to explore the same territory where Galvarino's story unfolded, providing an unforgettable experience of history, culture, and natural beauty in the heart of Chile. And that concludes the article. All right.
I was going to say, usually they try to hide the history. It's beautiful that this article coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And, the Lord just brings more and more things out. The closer we get to the end, because it will eventually bring all us together, man.
Mm-hmm.
This that was so it's going to be more and more beautiful articles.
Mm-hmm.
To further educate our people on what we actually been through.
Appreciate it.
Come.
This is Isaiah, to back up your point, this is Isaiah 25:7, and it reads, and he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all the people, and the veil that is spread over all the nations. And I brought this precept out because, like you said, the Lord is revealing everything that Esau Edom has done, bringing back that veil and, letting him be exposed. That's what I'm at.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got something?
No, I was going to finish. I was saying, because we were taught secular history in school coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But as we into like our adult years, the Lord is revealing like the true things, because not so-called slavery's not being taught in school to our kids. They're not learning. They're not learning. Well, we didn't have it either. All they taught us was Black History Month.
Yep.
Harriet Tubman and Martin Luther King, and, but now the atrocities that happen to us are starting to be revealed, man, through the Spirit of the Lord, man.
And then they're making vast efforts to remove it now. That Project 1619, you can't teach that. They took out all of the truth from the Smithsonian Museum of African American History. Trump is wiping out any person that isn't an Edomite out of history. You had the French put something, I forget what country it was, they went over there and had it removed. It wasn't even here in the United States.
Yeah. You know, he's trying to destroy the African, that's what's called the African American Museum in Washington.
Yep.
He's trying to destroy all those archives. He's trying to erase their history.
Yep.
Because Esau had a strong hand against us, but now he wants to be somebody. He wants to be the victim of everything. Man. He wants to eradicate all the stuff he's done to us. But the Lord is not going to forget His people, as it says in the Scriptures.
Yeah.
The Lord is going to be our vengeance.
Not going to say, well, the Lord has got him in a trick bag. Yeah, He's erasing all of that history, but at the same time, and this is where it's so cold, He wants to preserve Christianity. Well, that's not our heritage. We will call Christians as a form of mockery, but in order to do that, you have to read the Scriptures, and that's where we get our history from. He's telling us, hey, look, you can destroy all you want to. The Lord told Jeremiah, even thou, I would discontinue you from your heritage. And then his scribe Baruch came back later and said, in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. Essentially saying, the Lord was the one who took it away from us for all of our transgressions, but He also gave it back to us. Okay? Somebody grab that.
Well, also, just real quick, and we need to keep in mind that they came under that Christianity that they're trying to preserve is the Christianity that they were crucifying many of our people with. So it's going to keep bringing up like what we're bringing up today. They came under that conquistadors, the Spaniards. They came under that Christianity conquering people. All right, so it's gonna continue as we bring up these stories. It's gonna always fall back on the Bible. So eventually they're gonna want to, do away with the Bible being taught.
Yep. And we see that now in Canada. They had the bill C-367, where C-367, where you couldn't say that the Jews killed Yahushua when technically they didn't, but they called for it. And said, let His blood be upon our head and our children's head, when Pontius Pilate gave them the option.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and get this in.
Get this in.
2 and 30, yeah.
This is Baruch 2 and 30, and it reads, For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves, and shall know that I am the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, their power, for I will give them a heart and ears to hear. And everybody, anybody sitting in this room knows that. It came a point in our time where we realized, hey, something's not right with this Christianity. It's got to be more to it. I know me. I'm sitting in church. What is this? I'm not feeling this no more. I'm not feeling. There's more to it. And started, listening to GMS, man, and here we are today. Everything that's been said, everything that's been taught, is coming to pass out of the Scriptures. All right, and we're on the brink of that salvation, and part of that was lifting up the banner to this devil, according to Isaiah 13 and 2. All right, letting him know.
All right. Do you have more?
32.
32, yeah.
And they shall praise me in the land of their captivity, and think upon my name, and return from their stiff neck and their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the ways of their fathers which sinned before the Lord.
And that's the thing. We're starting, when you sit back and look at everything that's happening to us, and knowing that, that was probably you in one generation or another of that lifetime, it's like, man, we really, really messed up. We got to atone for this, because like the scriptures say, in Matthew, no flesh will be saved as long as this devil is continuing to operate. So that's where we at right now. You got the prophets out on the highways and byways, week in and week out, making their own individual videos, letting out the people know what time it is. It says, high time to wake out of sleep, for our salvation is nearer than what we believe. All right.
All right.
All right. Anybody Anybody got anything else? Is that it? All right. So with that, we hope this lesson was edifying to the elect body of the nation of Israel. Once again, going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well in teaching us this 100% truth. Salutations to them and our fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on the highways and byways. Also salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, also known as your Israelite foreigners and your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. To you, we say Shalom,
Shalom.
Kwam Yasharala,
Kwam Yasharala.
Abba Baba.
Abba Baba.
We got next. Shalom to the elect.
Shalom.